So I just hit record. So welcome everybody. It's our Thursday, January 28th Zoom session for computer literacy. Originally, some of you, when you joined this class, might have been told you're going into computer use. It is true. I had at one point, I had two separate lists of computer use and computer lit. And then I asked that they be combined into one attendance. We're calling the class computer literacy. The difference normally is literacy goes a bit faster than use, but because of this year, literacy's going slower than use in a normal year. So plus I can make accommodation if we have any students with learning disabilities or anything. So that applies to you. You can always be in touch with me if you got any problems or issues. Otherwise, the stuff we're doing shouldn't be too hard for anybody. But again, you might get stuck on something or get some questions, and you're welcome to contact me anytime. Okay, without further ado here, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the screen of our class. Okay. So if you got questions or something, feel free to unmute yourself and just ask at any time. That Office 365, I was grading, as some of you may have probably saw, and some people hadn't done that Office 365 assignment. It's not really much work at all. It's just mainly, I'm going to go into that and show you real quick from last week. It's mainly, I want you to be aware that you can get Office 365 for free. Now, this is if you want to download to any of your personal computers or things, or your family. And anyone in your family can use as long as you use a Harper Creek login. So I also want you to be aware of something called Adobe Creative Cloud, where you can get free, awesome Adobe software. And even though it's not connected to the school program, if you have any Apple login because you have an iPhone or a Mac or iPad, I want you aware of iCloud. Just some things I want you aware of. So the assignment's real easy. You open this here up and you watch those videos and you just answer the questions. So if I put, did you watch the video, and you watch it, you just put yes. That's simple. Do you understand what Office 365 is? There's an online only version that does not have near as many features. And if you do seem to understand that, put yes, and that's pretty much it you have to do there. Office 365 is a whole suite of programs that includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and depending on the version you get, some other things. There is an online only version where you can do it on the web and it saves to your OneDrive, but it doesn't have all the features. Your school computers have the full version already loaded on it, but you have to click the little square in the bottom left corner to get your applications to come up, and then go find Word, or go find Excel, go find PowerPoint. That's the full version with all the features. That's the one you want for this class. If you load on your own computer at home, there's a little video there how you can watch this 3 minutes. I made it myself. How you can log into and get Office 365. And this here is about Adobe, so you're aware of what they offer. And then you can download their stuff and use your school login and get it for free, because they save you hundreds of dollars if you want to use that stuff, like Photoshop. And then iCloud is the Apple one, which you might just want to be aware of. So that was something that was left over from last week. Now for this week here, this first assignment should be pretty simple. You just watch the 15 tips and tricks about Google Docs, something that you guys all use probably a lot. And then you do this little assignment here. You click on here and you list and briefly explain all 15 of them. And you just write a little bit about your favorite. So that's pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy. And, hopefully if you don't have it done, it was actually due. You should have that one done. Okay, then the one due today is this Google Drive lesson, so you can understand a little more about Google Drive. There's actually 2 videos here for you to watch. One's 13 minutes and one's 12 minutes. And then there's 2 different videos I shared of how to do a screenshot. Now, if you want to look up another way you do a screenshot, that's okay. But as part of this assignment, I do want you to do a screenshot. Now, this one doesn't have a pre-made document you click on to do it. You have to open up your own Word document and then go through here, put the name of the assignment, which is Google Drive, video lessons, video/lessons, and then put down, from what you watched about Google Drive, some tips, tricks, things you can do with it, and so forth. Okay, so that takes you through that. And that's a big one. Should have kept you busy this week. And then this one here, I have due tomorrow, but I'm going to change this. I'm going to extend it. I think that's going to be a little hard to get done by tomorrow. So if it's not that hard to get done by tomorrow, but since we're kind of new at this and we might have some students that struggle a little bit working on this stuff on the school computer, I'm going to go ahead and extend this. So I'm going to, let's see here, log in. And I will change the due date to, I'll make it next Wednesday. Okay. So that'll give you a little more time. This is, kind of your big project of the week, doing your intro terms, and you're going to make a multimedia slideshow out of it. You mainly use Google Slides, as what most people use. Some of you, if you really want to do PowerPoint, you could. Usually nobody does, but thought I'd let you know about that. And that's saving. So this here, just to review, what are you doing? Basically, you're making this right here. Okay, I talked about this already in other Zoom sessions. This is your terms too. If you scroll down here, there's all your terms. Now, I also shared your terms in a regular list right here. So these are also your terms, but these aren't the slide layouts. So if you want to copy and paste from here, like select there. If you have trouble copy and pasting from this first view, you can click up here, the little 3 dots, and go to open letter and new device. And that might, don't ask me why, but sometime opening up in this new window makes it easier to select to copy and paste. So if that can save you some typing, that's fine with me. Okay. Okay, so you got your terms either with the slides or by themselves. You got a video here where I go over how to make this and give you some tips on finding graphics and images. So rather than redo that tutorial right now live, I just say watch this one. I think that should be fine. And like I said, basically you're making this. Now you might say, Mr. Rio, where do you find all those images? Well, first of all, in the video, I show you where to find this one right here. And that one's unique because it's not just an image on your slide. It also includes some of what I consider the notes for the slide. So in the video tutorial, I show you how to get this, how to find it. And if there's a problem, let me know. Also, when you're doing your final edit, making everything good, make sure your key terms are up here. Make sure your definitions are down below. Put in your images. Select varying colors for these. I like colors of the terms to vary. Just randomly go through, do like red, blue, green, purple, whatever, rotate around. And yeah, you can use some of the colors multiple times, but that's a lot better than looking at the exact same color on every single term. Okay. The other day in Zoom, I went through about, I think it was 12. Let me now go through the rest of the terms. That's the last thing I'm going to do for today. First, I'm going to talk about RAM memory. This is something you should be aware of, not just for your grade or this class, but for yourself. All computers have RAM memory. And if you go shopping in a store or look over some information, they may call it SRAM or DDR or something a little different. It's typically about 8 gigs to 16 gigs for most computers if you buy it. And this is the working memory. When you open up a document, it's going to open up in RAM. And the more RAM you got, the either bigger documents you can open or the more documents you can open. And like I said, a lot of computers ship with like 8 gigs of RAM on their base models. I personally like 16 gigs of RAM for the things I do. I need to have more RAM. You can also, in some cases, install RAM yourself. That's a little tricky. They got YouTube videos about it, but it's worth looking into if you need to upgrade something you already have. So I'll just give you one quick story on RAM. Okay, this is the difference of RAM. Say you got a small kitchen counter. It might only be like 2 feet or so wide. Well, a small kitchen counter, you can take out stuff and make a sandwich probably okay. Okay. Think of that as like a small amount of RAM. It's a working memory. You take your stuff out of the cabinets, that'd be like your hard drive. So you're taking stuff out and you're working on the counter, but your counter can't stay full of stuff. It's going to go empty every once in a while. Just wipe everything. So you open it up. You got a little bit of counter space, like a little bit of RAM. You can make a simple small sandwich. Now, let's say you're planning for Thanksgiving dinner and you got 15 guests coming over and you need to cook all kind of food. Okay, you need a lot bigger counter and a lot more space to do that. So that'd be like having more RAM. You got 16 gigs of RAM or even 32 gigs of RAM. You can now open up much bigger, much more elaborate things to have open at once. So that's how RAM works. Active window, it's just the window you're currently working in. You just click on it and make it active. Dialog box, a lot of things that you do, like say printing, for example, when you click it, it's going to bring up a dialog box and it's going to give you options. How many copies you want to print? Do you want to print from page 1? If it's a 20-page document, maybe you don't want to start till page 15. Whatever it may be. And it gives you choices, even sometimes which printer send it to or whatever. So this is pretty typical. Files and folders, that's just files can be anything, a Word document, a JPEG photo, a video. Folders are just designed to organize it. And I set up folders all the time and organize my files. A server. A server is a computer used to share files, services, or applications. An application is a software that is for doing something like docs or slides or Microsoft Word or iMovie. And yeah, so that's pretty self-explanatory there. USB. You probably have all used USB cables. I think you're familiar with them. The original one was USB 1, then they came out USB 2. Now they got USB 3, and I read that there's a USB 4 being developed. They all look alike. They all use the same connectors, and you could, plug things into your computer with any of the USB 1, 2, or 3, and maybe even soon 4. USB-C is something newer and different. It's set up a little different, looks different, and it's designed to be, think of it as almost like a pipeline for different types of technologies. It can be used for all kinds of different things, from power to gathering information to backing up to, typing something on a typewriter. So that's about USB. The internet is a global network that connects the world's computers and networks, and has things like email and World Wide Web and all that on it. So yeah, internet's kind of like a network of networks of networks of networks that all talk to each other and communicate with each other. World Wide Web. This was invented in Lucerne, Switzerland, and Tim Berners-Lee is the main guy behind it. And they came up with the idea of having these servers and web pages and web browsers, and there's a better way to make information available on the web, and it worked out amazing. ISP is just your internet service provider. It's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, Ethernet. Oh, network. Network are just computers hooked together, often to servers. And we have network here at Harper Creek High School, network for the district, network for the state, network for banks. They don't always talk to each other, but sometimes they do. Ethernet is the most popular type of cable to connect to the network, or a cable modem or a connected printer or whatever it may be. And that's about 3 inches. It's let's see, I was going to say 3 plugins, but it's probably more than that in there. It's the plug-in there. Browser. I think all of you are familiar with web browsers. I put a picture of all 3 in here. There's more than 3 web browsers, but I put in the 3 most common ones: Apple Safari, Google's Chrome, and Firefox. Wi-Fi, I think you're all familiar with Wi-Fi. It's actually written some different ways as far as special, capitalization and so forth. It's short for wireless fidelity. They're always coming out with new versions, and they always got weird names like 802.11 or whatever. And there's also a new version coming out, a big one called 6, Wi-Fi 6. So some people have it already, some are going to get it, but just another way to get faster connections. Bandwidth. Think of a bandwidth as like a fire hose compared to a garden hose. If you have a garden hose, it might be fine for your yard, for your flowers, simple little things, but it wouldn't be the hose you'd want to use if your house caught on fire and you had to put out a big giant fire. Then you'd want a fire hose, which would be a lot bigger, a lot more water, a lot more pressure. That's like the difference of bandwidth. Now, the bandwidth to your house is probably more like the garden hose. The bandwidth that connects, say, Battle Creek to Kalamazoo is more like the fiber network. So it's bandwidth. Bluetooth, I think you're familiar with it. It's a type of wireless, different from Wi-Fi. It's used for like keyboard, speakers, headphones, things like that. And the current version is Bluetooth 5. Multimedia, that's just the idea of combining images, videos, text, graphics, and audio. Resolution, whether you're working in print or in photos or whatever, you're going to deal with a lot of resolutions. Just how big is that photo or graphic or whatever it is. And most of the images we work with have made up with pixels. So we'll talk about that later. Did I include DVD with you guys? I thought I took this one out. Maybe I left it in there. Okay. That's just about DVDs and Blu-rays. And pixels. Smartphones and tablets, I think you guys are familiar with. E-commerce, online shopping, and a blog. All kind of people are blogging all over the place. They're setting it up with a podcast or whatever. Okay, so that's just a quick review there of the terms. So you got your terms to work on, make your slides. You got questions, let me know. They're not going to be due till next week. You got I made the terms due on Wednesday, so make sure you get them done in advance, get an early start. The Google Drive lesson assignment's not hard, it's due today, but use your time wisely. Should be able to get it done today.
Mr. Brio,
Yeah.
you missed the GPG slide.
Which drive?
You missed the GEPG slide on the presentation.
On here?
Yeah.
Let me take a look here. GEPG. Oh, JPEG? No.
Yeah.
Oh, right JPEG? There. JPEG, yeah, right there. JPEG is the most common digital file format, mainly used for photos. You can use it for some other things like graphics and that, but it comes from the Joint Photographers Expert Group, which is the organization that developed it. So most of the time when we're taking pictures with our phone or with digital camera, we're shooting JPEGs. So I'll just leave it at that for right now. It's a good format. It's a multi-purpose format. It's widely used. Okay, I think that's pretty much about it. I don't know if anybody's got any questions. You can either unmute yourself and ask me, or you can put it in the chat. But other than that, I thank all of you for coming. Sarita and Hanson and Matt and Isabel and Colin and Aiden and Tyler and Jeffrey and Cody. So have a good day. We're all set. No Zoom tomorrow. Get your work done, go over your work. Now, if you're running a day or two late on some of these assignments, it's usually not a big deal, especially early in the semester when you're getting used to it. Just work on it and get it in. I probably won't get around to grade these till Sunday. Okay, have a good day. Take care. Yep, thank you, Colin. Thank you, Sarita, Tyler, Aiden, Isabel, Matt. Take care. Tyler, yeah, take care, all of you. Have a good day. If you got questions, text me, email me, whatever. I'm going to head out myself. See ya.